Welcome to this complete beginner's Foxtrot dance lesson. Learning tips including health and safety advice are in the description. We're going to start by walking around the dance floor and turn it into dancing. It's going to be really easy. Let's listen to the music and just walk around the room. Try to take one step for every beat. Note, I'm walking completely normally for me. So I'm dancing comfortably the way approximately I'd walk. In partner dancing, it is nice to have a clear end to every step. Clear end. Step, step, step. Clear end. I'm going to dance on the spot. I'm going to start by dancing on my left. Join in or watch. Let's start now. Slowly, slowly, I'm going to start heading forwards. Steppity step, step. Okay, let's go back to the start. I'm going to start on the left again. I'm going to start by dancing on the spot. Let's start dancing now. I'm exaggerating my steps so you can see them. You don't have to copy this, it's a bit unusual. Slowly drifting forwards. Let's go back to the start. Let's start dancing on the spot now. Gently, gently, when you're ready, drifting forwards. We're going to keep dancing now on the spot. New challenge is to go backwards. Obviously, be careful with what's behind you. Now on the spot, on the spot. When you're ready, gently start to travel forwards. What I'm going to do is dance on the spot once I run out of room. Then at some point I'll start travelling backwards. The exact way you step is not important. Simply copy the timing I'm doing of stepping on every beat. Remember, don't really dance like this. I'm exaggerating so you can see. I'll be quiet and you can join in as I step in time with the music. Let's dance on the spot, keep stopping and then starting again. Let's start dancing now. Stop! Oh, I just stepped with the right foot, so I'm now ready to step with the left foot. Let's start dancing now. Stop! I'm now next going to step with the right foot. Let's start dancing now. Stop! I'm ready to step with the left foot next. Let's start dancing now. Remember, I'm really exaggerating my footwork so you can see it. Don't step like this. Unless you feel you need to, step a bit more gently. Stop! Join in. Let's start dancing now. Leaders, generally you're dancing forwards while the follower is dancing backwards, so the follower can't see where they're going, so you're responsible for making sure they don't bang into anything. We're going to be dancing together soon. To avoid banging knees, which can be a problem when you start out, simply stand like this. The feet aren't opposite, which means the knees aren't opposite either. But notice, if you look from the side, we're still apart, and we can be much further apart than this. It's all good. And now let's just watch us actually dancing. Notice how it's almost like the leader's feet are each side of the follower's right foot. But anyway, you can see the feet are offset, which means the feet don't bang together, so the knees don't bang together. More preparation for dancing together. I'm going to be dancing around the edge of the room as the leader. I'm going to have the wall to my right hand side, dancing around the edge. And when we reach a corner, if we keep the wall to my right hand side, I've got to turn the corner and just keep going around the edge like that. So we've just looked at how to have our feet and how to have our bodies on the dance floor. That's how we're going to be dancing. But if we demonstrate like that, you're not going to be able to see. So we're going to stand offset. That way, leaders, you can copy me. Followers, you can copy Debbie. So as I step forwards with the left, Debbie is going to step backwards with the right. Let's just replay that. You might join in this time, or you might have already joined in. So as the leader steps forward with the left, the follower steps backwards with the right. And maybe we close our feet at this point. Then the leader steps forward with the right, the follower steps backwards with the left. And so on. The pattern repeats over and over for the whole dance. Now a practice dance. Exciting. Maybe watch us demonstrate for a bit and then join in. Or just go for it. Remember the foot position, remember dancing around the wall, remember the timing. Understandably, many learners are concerned about the feet and how the feet should be positioned on the floor as they step. I say walk naturally. Generally, this means you will land on the heel if you're going forwards and in the front of the foot if you're going backwards. However, you may not walk like this, in which case I say don't force it, move the way you naturally would. In a moment we're going to do an exercise where we start dancing closer together. You might end up in close hold if you can get very close, but you don't have to. If you do, let's look at the shape you might make in that position. The leader's left hand might be up here, might be down here, who knows. The leader's right hand around the follower's back, but really not very far, barely around the back at all, because otherwise you're reaching too much. Follower's hand just on the shoulder like that. As we start dancing closer together, the knees become closer together, and so the chance of banging knees increases. Good time to remember about how to position the feet slightly offset. So it looks like this, and some people find it useful to imagine the leader's feet tucking around the follower's right foot. In this exercise, we start dancing further apart. Then after a while we drift closer together, then we dance close together, then after a while we drift further apart, then we dance further apart, and so on. You don't have to copy exactly what we're doing. The demonstration is just there to show you what we're talking about. I encourage you to do this in your own time, practicing being far apart and close together. And I'll mention some top tips as the music's playing. Notice I'm looking down. I don't really need to do this, I'm role-playing being a beginner. And then as I start drifting closer, I'm really monitoring the feet to check that I'm staying offset. And then drift apart again, and the main way I do that is I let the follower move ahead, so I really slow down while the follower keeps going. Oh, again, role-playing beginners. We're going to stop and start again here, just to be sure, because we weren't quite sure if we're in time. I think I'm probably looking down too much here actually, so aim for you I think is don't look down too much, just occasionally. You know how when we start in the lessons so far, it's been leader on the left, follower on the right? You don't have to do this. Here's an alternative way of starting, which I personally prefer. Oh look, I'm rocking from side to side. I'm exaggerating my shoulders. I wouldn't move the shoulders this much, but when first learning I think that's the way to do it. There we go. We rocked from side to side, then when we stopped as a leader I'm like, I think we must be on the same side now. Let's just do it again. Watch us rocking from side to side. The movements are large enough, I'm bringing the follower with me. Oh look, ready to step on the same side. And that time, the second time, I step forward on the right, the follower step backwards on the left. And it worked because we'd done the rocking from side to side to end up on the same foot. As a beginner dancing foxtrot, it can be tempting to move the shoulders like this while you're dancing. Do you know what? If it means you're enjoying your first few dances, I say go for it. But it can cause problems later on as it can interfere with more advanced moves, so I encourage you to stop doing it after a while. Let's clarify this. Yes, when the leader steps forward with the left, the follower steps backwards with the right. Yes, when the leader steps forward with the right, the follower steps backwards with the left. Yes, this is basically what always happens. Now, a song for you to practice to. Enjoy this practice dance. Think about some of the things we've been learning. We're going to dance at the same time. That's just to keep you company, and you can also look at the screen just to remind yourself of things. We keep stopping and starting just to demonstrate how you might do that. You might find you don't need to if you're staying in time, and it all feels good. Quick thought, stepping forwards is easier. What does this mean? What it means is the leader can step forwards more easily than the follower can step backwards. Consequences. 1. Leaders, you might need to hold back and be understanding. I've occasionally met leaders who have been frustrated that the follower isn't stepping further. Well, stepping backwards is more difficult than stepping forwards. Second thought is, followers, it's probably you that determines how far you can step. So followers, if you want to try and step a bit further, which is something you can do as you get more practice, this can extend the dance, and a lot of people say it feels nicer that way. Suppose there's an obstacle in the way on the dance floor. Let's look at a couple of options. Option number 1, watch me dance towards these chairs. Oh, we just stopped. Who saw the obstacle? Obviously me, because I'm the leader, because the followers had their back towards them. So reminder there, leaders, you've really got to watch what's in the way of the follower. This time, we're dancing on the spot. That's an interesting strategy. Now, I'm going to look over my shoulder, check that there's nothing in the way. The follower can be checking as well. And then when the coast is clear, I might overtake. And I'm overtaking towards the centre of the dance floor because that's the fashion, that's what people will expect. Because everyone overtakes like that, it kind of keeps the dance floor safer. I want to briefly talk about this because it does come up in class quite often. Followers, you are stepping backwards into thin air. Well, presuming that the leader's keeping an eye on things and there's nothing in the way. Leaders, you are dancing towards the follower is in your way. So followers, you can step as far as you want. Leaders, you can't step as far as you want. You are limited because you can't bang into the follower. So I know it can be frustrating as the leader. You're going to have to let go control over this. The follower has control over how far to step. You might try to indicate or lead a longer step, but ultimately it's the follower's choice. Time for another practice dance. You can practice your own thing, anything that we've learnt so far in the class. If you want a little bit of a challenge, you might practice dealing with obstacles. They don't have to be real obstacles, just pretend they're there. Practice dancing on the spot, overtaking them towards the centre of the dance floor and carrying on with your dancing. Something that crops up a little bit in class for me, so I think it's worth talking about. The leader needs to wait for the follower to step. What do I mean by this? Well, obviously the follower is in the way, so the leader has to wait for them to move so the leader can move into the space that's created. This can cause a few problems. One of them is the follower might just keep waiting and be like, Well, I thought I'd wait for the leader to go first. Well, if you do that, the leader's never going to go. The leader might sort of start to indicate they're going, but they can't actually step until you start stepping out of the way. So what kind of happens is the leader starts leaning into the step, the follower then steps, the leader then steps. So it's like initiate, step, step. Does that sound confusing? Well, your dancing was probably working before, so don't worry about it. But if you were struggling with this, it's probably making a bit of sense and it might be helping. We'll do a stop-start exercise. Let's have leaders start with the left, followers start with the right. We're just doing this so we can all dance on the same foot during the exercise. Let's start dancing now. Keep going and stop! So what I'll do is, all the way through, I'll just keep calling stop. So this time, we stopped at the moment where the leader is about to step with their left, the follower is about to step with their right. Let's carry on now. Stop! Oh, the leader's about to step with their right, the follower's about to step with their left. Let's carry on dancing now. Stop! The leader's about to step with their right, the follower's about to step with their left. Let's carry on dancing now. So this exercise helps develop, well, it's partly about being able to cope with mistakes in the dance and strange things happening on the dance floor, so it gets you used to disruptions. Stop! The leader's about to step with the right, the follower's about to step with the left. Let's carry on dancing now. Stop! The leader's about to step with their left, the follower's about to step with their right. Let's start dancing now. So I started dancing slightly later there because I was waiting for what felt like a nice moment in the song to carry on. If I was on a social dance floor, I'd be aware of people behind me and I might try and go a bit earlier than that. We'll do that this time. Stop! Leader on the left, follower on the right, go. So that was me just sort of trying to get going when the first beat I could hear clearly. And that's the end of the song. Hey! A final practice dance. As usual, we're going to join in with you, keep you company. You can also look across and see things and get reminders of timing, stuff like that. Practice anything you like from the lesson or just enjoy the dance. It's all good. Thanks for watching. This is one of a series of nearly 50 lessons that create a complete partner dance learning experience. The video description and my website have lots more information to help.